The underestimated species. The massive alien vessel hung in Earth's orbit like a technological jewel, its crystalline surfaces refracting sunlight in hypnotic patterns. Commander Maya Rodriguez stood at the observation deck of the International Space Station, her dark eyes fixed on the ship that had arrived without warning 3 days ago. "They're hailing us again," Lieutenant Chen said, breaking the silence. "The Galactic Confederation representatives are requesting your presence specifically, Commander." Maya nodded, her expression neutral despite the storm of emotions churning inside her. First contact. After centuries of wondering if we were alone in the universe, humanity finally had its answer. And somehow, she had become Earth's unofficial ambassador. "Tell them I'll be aboard their shuttle in 20 minutes, she replied, turning away from the viewport. "And Chen, make sure the data package we prepared is ready for transfer. Let's show these aliens exactly who they're dealing with." The journey to the Confederation vessel took less than an hour. Maya sat rigidly in her seat, reviewing everything humanity had learned about their visitors in the past 72 hours. The Galactic Confederation consisted of 17 spacefaring species, bound together by shared interests and mutual protection. They claimed to have been observing Earth for decades, waiting until humans developed sufficient technology before making contact. The shuttle docked with barely a shudder, and Maya was escorted through gleaming corridors by beings that resembled upright mantises, their exoskeletons shimmering with iridescent patterns. They led her to a vast chamber where representatives of various species waited around a crescent-shaped table. The alien at the center rose as she entered. It stood nearly 7 feet tall, with 4 arms and skin that shifted colors like oil on water. When it spoke, its words were translated through a small device at Maya's ear. "Commander Rodriguez, I am High Chancellor Varix of the Galactic Confederation. We welcome Earth to the greater community of spacefaring civilizations." Maya inclined her head respectfully. "On behalf of Earth, I thank you for this welcome. We look forward to learning from and sharing with our galactic neighbors." A sound like rustling leaves emanated from several of the aliens. Laughter, Maya realized with a start. "Fascinating," said another alien, this one resembling a bipedal feline with 6 eyes arranged in a hexagonal pattern. "It speaks with such confidence, despite its obvious biological inferiority." Maya kept her expression neutral, but her spine stiffened. "I beg your pardon." "No offense intended, Earth creature," the feline alien continued, waving a clawed hand dismissively. "We have studied your species extensively. You possess no natural armor, no venomous secretions, no enhanced senses or redundant organs. Your skeletal structure is internal and fragile. Your skin tears easily. Your reproductive cycle is inefficient. By any objective measure, humans are." It paused, searching for the right word. "Vulnerable." Chancellor Varix's skin rippled with blue and green patterns. "What Coordinator Riza means is that we find it remarkable that your species has survived to achieve spaceflight, given your physiological limitations." Maya felt heat rising in her cheeks, but kept her voice level. "Chancellor, with respect, humans have thrived on a planet that has tried to kill us at every turn. We've survived ice ages, plagues, predators, and our own worst impulses. We may not have exoskeletons or venom, but I assure you, we are not vulnerable." This prompted another round of that rustling laughter. "Such spirit," exclaimed a gelatinous being near the end of the table. "Perhaps it will serve them well in the integration trials." Maya frowned. Integration trials. Chancellor Varix's skin settled into a calm azure. "All new species joining the Confederation must participate in the trials. They assess compatibility, capabilities, and potential contributions to our collective. Given your species' unique limitations, we've designed a special set of challenges for human participants." The condescension in the Chancellor's tone was unmistakable, but Maya recognized an opportunity when she saw one. "When do these trials begin, and what will they entail?" "You have 1 Earth month to prepare a team of 5 representatives. The trials will test various competencies in environments selected to be illuminating. Varex's skin briefly flashed a pattern that Maya couldn't interpret. The details will be transmitted to your planet's governing bodies. I'll lead our team personally, Maya stated firmly. As you wish, Varex replied, in a tone that suggested he found her eagerness amusing. Though I must warn you, the trials can be dangerous for species with robust natural defenses. For humans, they may prove challenging. Maya smiled thinly. We're used to challenges, Chancellor. They're what made us human. 1 month later, Maya stood in a massive hangar aboard the Confederation mothership, assessing her team as they prepared their equipment. Each had been chosen not just for their individual skills, but for their resilience, adaptability, and that quintessentially human quality, stubborn determination. Dr. Amir Khan, xenobiologist and former combat medic, was meticulously organizing his medical supplies. Camila Ortiz, environmental engineer and wilderness survival expert, tested the tension on a compact bow, a primitive weapon the Confederation had allowed as a cultural curiosity. Matteo Nguyen, physicist and materials specialist, was making final adjustments to their custom-designed environmental suits. And rounding out the team, Sergeant Jackson Williams, marine biologist and former Special Forces operator, who was calmly sharpening what appeared to be a simple stone knife. Final checks, everyone, Maya called. The Confederation ship drops us on Trial Moon Echo in 30 minutes. Amir approached her, lowering his voice. Commander, I've been reviewing the environmental data they provided. This moon's ecosystem, it's like nothing we've seen before. The atmospheric composition alone would be toxic to most Earth mammals. Maya nodded. That's why we have you, Doctor. Any vulnerabilities in the local fauna? Several. Their biochemistry suggests multiple exploitable weaknesses, if it comes to that. Let's hope it doesn't, Maya replied, though they both knew better. From the briefings and the barely concealed disdain of their alien hosts, it was clear the trials had been designed to demonstrate human inadequacy rather than potential. The Confederation representatives arrived with typical dramatic flair, a delegation of 6 different species, led by a towering insectoid being called Overseer Crit 6. Commander Rodriguez, the Overseer chittered, mandibles clicking. We are prepared to transport your team to the trial location. Are your associates ready? We are, Maya confirmed. Though I'm curious, will representatives from other species be participating alongside us? Of course, Crit 6 responded. The Verax, the Threen, and the Zakur have all sent teams. Though they've participated in similar trials before, this will be educational for your species. The implied comparison was clear. The other species were accomplished members of the Confederation. Humans were amusing novelties. I'm sure we'll learn a great deal, Maya replied with deliberate ambiguity. The transport ship that carried them to Trial Moon Echo was a marvel of technology, crossing the vast distance in mere hours. Through viewport windows, Maya watched as they approached a small moon orbiting a ringed gas giant. The moon's surface was a riot of color. Vast swaths of what appeared to be purple vegetation interspersed with crimson oceans and yellow-tinged cloud formations. Beautiful, Candela murmured beside her. And deadly, I'd wager. Count on it, Maya replied quietly. Everything about this trial is designed to showcase our weaknesses. We need to show them our strengths instead. The landing was smooth, the ship setting down in a small clearing surrounded by towering purple structures that resembled trees, but moved with an unsettling autonomy, branches swaying despite the absence of wind. As the team prepared to disembark, Overseer Crit 6 delivered their final instructions. The trial is simple, the insectoid announced. Survival and navigation. You will traverse 20 kilometers of terrain to reach the extraction point, marked on your provided maps. You have 48 Earth hours to complete this journey. The other teams have been deployed at equidistant points around the extraction zone. Maya studied the map they'd been given. The route would take them through dense vegetation, across a body of water, and through what appeared to be a canyon system. Challenging, but not impossible. One final note, Kritsix added, mandibles twitching in what Maya was beginning to recognize as amusement. The local wildlife can be territorial. We suggest avoiding unnecessary confrontation. With that cryptic warning, the Confederation representatives retreated to their ship, which immediately lifted off, leaving the human team alone in alien wilderness. "Well," said Jackson, hefting his pack, "they certainly didn't waste time abandoning us to our fate." "They're watching," Maya replied, pointing to small floating spheres hovering discreetly among the strange trees. "Observation drones. Everything we do here is being recorded and analyzed." "Let's give them a show, then," Amir suggested with a grim smile, starting with not dying in the first 5 minutes. They had barely gathered their equipment when a low, rumbling growl emanated from the dense vegetation to their left. The team instantly formed a defensive circle, backs to each other. "Movement at 2 o'clock, Canela whispered, knocking an arrow to her bow. From between the swaying purple stalks emerged a creature that defied easy description. It moved on 6 muscular limbs, its body covered in overlapping plates that resembled armor. Its head was dominated by 3 vertical slits that pulsed with bioluminescent light, and where a mouth should have been, there was instead a circular orifice ringed with serrated edges. The creature paused at the edge of the clearing, those strange light slits pulsing more rapidly as it regarded the humans. "No sudden movements," Maya cautioned. A mirror analysis. The xenobiologist was already scanning the creature with a handheld device. Exothermic, complex respiratory system. Those lights on its head appear to be some kind of thermal sensing organs. "It's hunting us." As if confirming his assessment, the creature lowered its front body segment and began to advance slowly, those terrible mouthparts beginning to rotate like a living drill. "Options?" Maya asked calmly, though her heart hammered in her chest. "I can try to put an arrow through one of those sensing organs," Canela offered. "Wait," Matteo interrupted. "Look at its plates. They're overlapping for protection, but there are gaps when it moves. The underside, between the middle limbs." Jackson was already moving, his stone knife held low. "Distract it. Make noise. Spread out." Without hesitation, the team executed the impromptu plan. Maya and the others began shouting and waving their arms, moving in different directions while maintaining safe distances. The creature hesitated, its sensing organs flashing erratically as it tried to track multiple targets. In that moment of confusion, Jackson darted forward with the silent grace of a predator, rolled beneath the creature's massive body, and drove his knife upward into the unprotected flesh between its armored plates. The creature emitted a high-pitched keening sound and reared back, its limbs thrashing. Jackson rolled clear just before one massive appendage crashed down where he had been. The wounded alien predator backed away, luminous ichor dripping from the precisely placed wound, before turning and crashing back into the dense vegetation. In the sudden silence that followed, Maya became acutely aware of the observation drones hovering closer, recording everything. "First lesson delivered," she said, loud enough for the drones to pick up. "Humans don't need natural armor when we have strategy and teamwork." As they gathered their equipment and prepared to move out, Maya caught a glimpse of one of the drones transmitting data back to the Confederation ship. She smiled grimly to herself. This was only the beginning. Before these trials were over, the Galactic Confederation would learn what humans had known for millennia. Earth doesn't raise prey, it breeds predators. Turning the tables. The crimson water of Trial Moon Echo lapped at the shoreline in unnatural rhythms, as if the liquid itself was somehow alive. Maya and her team crouched in the purple underbrush, observing the bizarre scene before them. 3 alien beings, representatives of the Verax species, were attempting to construct a raft from the fibrous vegetation. "They've been at it for nearly an hour," Camilla whispered, lowering her binoculars. "Those materials won't hold in that liquid. It's too corrosive." Maya nodded, watching as the Verax, Insectoid beings with translucent exoskeletons struggled with their increasingly dissolving construction. They're thinking like Verax, not adapting to the environment. The liquid's chemical composition is fascinating. Emir added, studying readings on his handheld scanner. It's not actually water, but a complex solution of organic compounds, slightly acidic, but not immediately dangerous to our skin. Jackson raised an eyebrow. Define immediately. Extended exposure would cause irritation, perhaps minor chemical burns, Amir clarified, but nothing our environmental suits can't handle for a short crossing. The team had been traversing the alien terrain for 18 hours, making remarkable progress despite the increasingly dangerous obstacles. They had already encountered 3 different predator species, navigated through a field of explosive spore pods, and survived a nighttime temperature drop that would have killed unprotected organisms. Through it all, the Confederation's observation drones had followed, recording every decision, every innovation, every uniquely human solution. We could wait for them to fail and move on, Matteo suggested, nodding toward the struggling Verax team. Maya shook her head. That's what they expect us to do. Compete rather than cooperate. She stood, making a decision. We're going to help them. Her team exchanged surprised glances, but followed without question as Maya emerged from their hiding place and approached the alien team. The Verax immediately assumed defensive postures, their translucent limbs extending razor-sharp edges. We mean no harm, Maya called, holding her hands up. We're offering assistance. The Verax team leader, distinguishable by elaborate markings on its exoskeleton, clicked its mandibles rapidly, their version of speech. The translation device at Maya's ear converted the sounds. Humans offer help. Why? This is competition. Because that's what humans do, Maya replied simply. We cooperate when faced with shared challenges. The Verax leader's compound eyes shifted, focusing and refocusing as it considered her words. Finally, it lowered its defensive limbs. What assistance? 6 hours later, a remarkable sight greeted the Confederation observers monitoring the trial. A joint human-Verax expedition, successfully crossing the caustic liquid on submersible devices designed by Matteo and constructed from materials provided by the Verax. The chemical reaction between their exoskeleton secretions and the flexible stems of those purple plants created a waterproof resin. Matteo explained enthusiastically as they reached the opposite shore. We couldn't have developed it without their biochemistry, and they couldn't have designed these submersibles without our mechanical knowledge. The Verax leader approached Maya as their teams prepared to part ways. Humans are unexpected, it chittered. Our briefings described you as physically inferior beings. They did not mention your problem-solving capabilities. Maya smiled. There's a lot your Confederation doesn't understand about us yet. As they continued their journey toward the extraction point, the human team encountered similar scenarios with both the Zakir, gaseous entities contained in environmental suits, and the Threen, massive quadrupedal beings with silicon-based biology. In each case, Maya made the same decision: cooperation over competition, innovation over confrontation. The Confederation is watching all of this, Jackson noted as they helped a stranded Threen free itself from a gravitational anomaly. What game are you playing, Commander? The long game, Sergeant, Maya replied, her eyes on the hovering observation drones. We're not just trying to survive this trial. We're changing how they see humanity. They were just 6 kilometers from the extraction point when disaster struck. The ground beneath them began to tremble, subtle at first, then with increasing violence. Seismic activity. Amir shouted as fissures began opening in the terrain around them. It's not random, Matteo called, studying readings on his device. These energy signatures. This is artificial. Maya realized the truth immediately. It's the final test. They're triggering a cataclysm to see how we react under extreme pressure. The evidence supported her theory. The tremors were increasing in intensity but following precise patterns. Ahead, the extraction point, A plateau elevated above the surrounding terrain, remained stable while everything around it destabilized. "We can make it if we move now," Jackson urged, pointing to a relatively intact path through the chaos. But Maya was looking elsewhere, at the Verax team struggling on a rapidly disintegrating ridge, at the Zikr entities whose containment suits had been damaged by falling debris, at the Threen trapped on an island of stable ground that was shrinking by the second. "We're not leaving them," she stated firmly. "Commander, with respect, our mission," Jackson began. "Our mission is to show the Confederation who we really are," Maya interrupted. "And this is who we are." She activated her comm unit, switching to the emergency frequency all teams had been provided. "Attention all trial participants. This is Commander Rodriguez of Earth. My team is initiating rescue operations. Transmit your coordinates and status immediately." What followed was nothing short of miraculous, at least to the watching Confederation observers. The humans, supposedly the weakest, most vulnerable species in the trials, orchestrated a series of daring rescues, putting themselves at risk repeatedly to save their supposed competitors. Camula used her expertise in structural engineering to stabilize a collapsing cavern long enough for the Zikr to escape. Amir patched the damaged containment suits with materials from his own medical supplies. Jackson and Matteo constructed improvised stretchers to transport injured Threen. And Maya coordinated it all, making split-second decisions that repeatedly prioritized life over competition. By the time they reached the extraction point, the last team to arrive, but with every trial participant accounted for, even the typically impassive Confederation representatives appeared stunned. Chancellor Verix himself was waiting at the plateau, skin shifting through patterns of blue and gold that Maya had learned indicated surprise and revaluation. "Commander Rodriguez," the Chancellor began, "your team's performance was unexpected." "Was it?" Maya asked, still helping a limping Verax participant. "Or did you simply misunderstand what makes humans strong?" "Explain," Verix demanded, though his tone lacked its earlier condescension. Maya straightened, looking directly at the Chancellor. "You saw our lack of natural defenses as weakness. You failed to recognize that our true strength lies in our adaptability, our creativity, and most importantly, our capacity for cooperation." She gestured to the diverse group of beings they had rescued. "When faced with danger, we don't just save ourselves. We save each other. We problem solve. We innovate. We turn competitors into allies." The Chancellor's skin rippled with contemplative patterns. "Yet you knowingly jeopardized your own success in the trials." "Did we?" Maya countered. "What was the real purpose of these trials, Chancellor? To see which species could outrun the others to safety, or to identify which species would make valuable members of your Confederation?" Verix was silent for a long moment, his color patterns stabilizing into a steady, deep blue. "The Confederation has existed for 10,000 years, Commander. In that time, we have encountered hundreds of spacefaring species. Most have joined us. Some have opposed us. A few have simply disappeared. And where does humanity fall in your assessment?" Maya asked quietly. "Until today, we believe your species would likely fall into the third category, too fragile to survive the complexities of interstellar politics, too limited to contribute meaningfully to our collective." The Chancellor's form seemed to expand slightly. "We were mistaken." Behind Verix, the other Confederation representatives were conferring, their various communication methods creating a cacophony of sounds, lights, and movements. Finally, the Chancellor turned back to Maya. "The Galactic Confederation formally acknowledges the successful completion of the integration trials by Earth's representatives," Verix announced, his voice carrying to all present. "Furthermore, we extend an invitation not merely for membership, but for partnership." Murmurs rippled through the assembled aliens. "Partnership," Maya repeated, surprised by the distinction. "Indeed," the Chancellor confirmed. "What your species lacks in natural defenses, you compensate for with qualities the Confederation has occasionally forgotten are valuable. Ingenuity, cooperation, and moral courage. He gestured to the rescued teams. You have reminded us that diversity of approach, not just diversity of biology, strengthens us all. Maya felt a surge of pride, not just for her team, but for humanity itself. We accept your partnership, Chancellor, on behalf of Earth, but remember this lesson well. She stepped closer, lowering her voice so only Varix could hear her next words. Earth doesn't raise prey, Chancellor. It breeds predators. But what makes us dangerous isn't our teeth or claws. It's our minds and hearts. The Chancellor's skin briefly flashed a pattern Maya had never seen before, something like respect mingled with caution. Indeed, Commander, a lesson we shall not forget. As the extraction ships arrived to transport them back to the Confederation vessel, Maya looked out over the bizarre landscape of Trial Moon Echo. What had begun as a test designed to prove human inadequacy had instead demonstrated humanity's greatest strengths. The observation drones still hovered nearby, recording this historic moment. Maya smiled directly at the closest one, knowing her words would be transmitted throughout the Confederation. Remember this for the sake of our future together, she said clearly. Humanity has survived on a world that tried to kill us at every turn. We've endured ice ages and asteroids, predators, and plagues. We've even survived ourselves. We don't have venom or armored skin or retractable claws. She paused, making sure her final message was unmistakable. What we have is far more dangerous. The ability to adapt, to innovate, to cooperate, and when necessary, to fight with everything we have. We weren't born to be prey. We were born to be the apex hunter. And now, we've joined the stars. Behind her, her team stood tall, battered but undefeated, living proof of her words. Before them stretched a future where humanity would no longer be underestimated. The Galactic Confederation had learned what countless Earth predators had discovered over millennia. Appearances can be deceiving, and sometimes the most dangerous predator is the one you never saw coming.